Hi, everyone. This is Leslie from the Tea Experience. And this evening, we're going to talk about tea's relationship with chocolate. We're going to spend a little bit of time pairing the four basic tea types with three different percentages of chocolate truffles. And so before we begin, just a little intro to myself. I have been in the tea industry since 2006. I had a brick and mortar space called Lola's Tea House. And then we converted Lola's Tea House or the business model into what it is now called the Tea Experience. We offer and help co-host tea parties of all different occasions. We host virtual and in-person tea tastings and tea events like this one. We also help host fundraising activities, bridal showers, baby showers, cultural and community outreach events as well. We also offer on our website the sale or purchase of organic loose leaf teas and all tea themed accessories. And we also have a Tea of the Month subscription box program called Simplicity, where you can purchase and receive every month a different tea with a lot of tea themed accessories around that particular tea or holiday or event that happens to be going on for that particular month. And so today, before we begin our tea pairing, I just want to ask everyone to do a little bit of pre-work. Please make sure you have some hot water available, not boiling water, but hot water available. You can probably start putting your teas in the various tea bags that you received in your box. So for each tea type, there should be 4 tea bags for you to prepare your tea bags with and put your tea in. So have your hot water ready, have your tea bags prepared. I ask that you don't put any milk or sugar in your teas yet, because I want you to enjoy and experience the teas, what I call naked, without milk and without sugar. And we're going to allow the taste and the sweetness of the chocolate truffles to kind of be the sweetener for your tea during this particular pairing. Okay. So just to level set, want to make sure that everybody knows and understands that there are 4 basic tea types that most folks will drink. There are 6 tea types if you're a tea snob, and possibly 8, that's controversial, but 8 tea types are potentially possibly available if you're a super snob. But for the purposes of this evening's tea pairing, let's go through just the 4 basic tea types. And so the tea types are green tea, white tea, oolong tea, and black tea. All 4 tea types come from one tea leaf called Camellia sinensis. And depending on how long and how long really the tea leaf is oxidized or dried out, processed, will render the particular tea type that they're looking to produce. And so black teas have complete oxidation, meaning they are dried out completely in order to render that dark, aromatic, smoky kind of taste to black teas. White teas are partially oxidized. They're not as oxidized or dried out as long as black teas are. There's minimum or very little oxidation process with white teas, and there's little to no oxidation process with green teas. And so the longer the oxidation process, the darker the tea. And because each different tea type requires or warrants a different or shorter or longer tea steeping time, I just wanted to share with everybody that those are the 4 tea types by name that you received in your box and how long you're supposed to steep or brew those particular teas when we're ready to pair. So for black teas in general, it's recommended that you steep or brew black teas anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes. Green teas could be brewed for 1 to 3 minutes. I'd say 2 to 3 minutes for green teas. Similar to oolong teas, 2, 3 minutes, maybe 3 minutes for oolong. And white tea, because it's so fragile, um, the suggestion or recommendation is to brew white tea for about 2 minutes. So, a little bit about cacao. What's trending now with chocolate is the percentage of cacao in each particular bar of chocolate or truffle that you would purchase in the stores. Larger the percentage, the darker the chocolate. And so you'll see in the supermarkets anywhere between 20% cacao to 70% cacao, meaning that 70% bar of chocolate or truffle is the darkest of chocolate and probably the least sweet chocolate that's available. And so again, the percentages are calculated based on the amount of cacao beans and cacao butter that is blended in with the chocolate to render whatever percentage of cacao that is in that particular bar of chocolate or truffle. And so for today's tasting, we are going to pair we're going to start with maybe the least percentage of cacao truffle to the highest. So we're going to start with our white chocolate truffle and then move up to our milk chocolate truffle and then ultimately end with our dark chocolate truffle. And I recommend, if you're able to, in between your tastings, when you move from one tea to the next or one particular truffle to the next, I suggest maybe just to cleanse your palate to take a bite of plain cracker that you may have available or, a little bite of the shortbread cookie that was included in your box. So let's talk a little bit about the different chocolate types and the percentages that you will be enjoying during this pairing. So the white chocolate truffle, that is the manufacturer or the chocolatier maker is called Lindt. They have 20% of cacao in their white chocolate truffle. They have 30% chocolate of cacao in their milk chocolate truffle. And they have 60% of cacao in their dark chocolate truffle. Lindt does have a very, very dark, semi-sweet, so to speak, dark truffle that's at 70% cacao, but we're not going to review or pair that this evening because it is just that, it's really, really, really dark, and most folks prefer to have their dark chocolate to be at 50 to 60%. 70% is a little too unsweetened for most people commercially. So we're just going to go through our tasting with the three: white, milk, and dark. Okay. So our pairings actually can be made in three different types of pairings. There's a complementary flavored pairing, an enhanced flavored pairing, or a pairing of contrast. And so for today's pairings with tea and our chocolate, we're going to actually experience the complementary flavors. So the tea will complement the particular truffle that we're going to pair it with, and vice versa. So it's going to be a complementary pairing during this tea and chocolate pairing session. So here are the various teas that match up or pair with the particular truffle that we're going to enjoy. I recommend, since we're going to start with the least percentage of chocolate, which is the white chocolate. So this is the white chocolate. It is with the gold colored labeling. So that's the white chocolate. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and start brewing your oolong tea. It's the tea in your box labeled, let's get a little closer, labeled Tai Kuan Yin. Tai Kuan Yin is the Chinese term or name of the oolong tea. So go ahead and brew your oolong tea. Brew it for anywhere between I'd say about on average, 2 minutes. It should render a light yellow golden color, probably see-through, but not quite because it has a little bit of a tinge to it. And then you'll know that you've actually brewed it to the proper time or steeped it to the proper amount of time. So 2 minutes on average for oolong tea. Once you brew your tea, what I ask you to do is to smell that tea, get your senses involved in the pairing, smell the tea, take a sip of the tea, and then take a bite. You don't have to, pop the whole truffle in, but maybe take a bite, and then have a second sip of the oolong tea and see what your palate says about it. Do you like it? Is it too sweet? Is it not so sweet? The oolong tea is actually supposed to complement the white chocolate, but offset some of the sweetness of the white chocolate that you would receive when you bite into it. The second tea and chocolate pairing that we'll go through is with green tea. And so green tea is in the green label, right? This tea is called sencha. It too comes from China. Green teas are typically, when you taste it, has a grassy, kind of earthy smell and taste to it. And so we paired it with milk chocolate, which is the red truffle, right? So when you're done with brewing your green tea, and brew your green tea anywhere between 2 and 3 minutes. Once you're done with brewing your green tea, again, smell and taste. Just take a sip of your green tea, the way you did with the oolong. Smell and taste it. Then take a bite of the milk chocolate. And then take another sip of the green tea after you've kind of, taken a bite of your milk chocolate truffle. And see if your palate enjoys milk chocolate with your green tea, right? Milk chocolate is not as sweet as white chocolate. And so you may have your palate may recognize it a little bit differently. Some people like green tea, some people don't. And it's all an individual palate tasting type of event. And so you tried first with the oolong and the white tea, and then now you're trying green tea or sencha with milk truffle, milk chocolate truffle. The last and final pairing is with a black tea from India called Assam. It's the red labeled tea, comes from India. And the Assam tea needs to be brewed for at least 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. If you want your tea stronger and a little more aromatic, then I would recommend that you brew it for a full 5 minutes. If you're, kind of a regular tea drinker and you kind of like black teas in general, then 3 minutes is usually the recommended brew or steeping time. So brew your Assam, your black tea, for 3 minutes, right? Once you're done brewing, then again, similar to the green and the oolong teas, smell and get your senses involved with the black tea. You'll notice that it is very aromatic, more aromatic than the green tea and the oolong tea to the smell. And it tastes a lot darker, smokier, a very hearty aroma and taste to black tea. Take a bite of your dark truffle, which is your blue truffle. It's your dark truffle, dark chocolate truffle. Take a sip of the Assam, take a bite of the dark truffle, dark chocolate truffle, and then another second sip of the black Assam tea, and see what your palate says about it. Again, this is all an individual thing. Everybody's palate is different. Some may like and enjoy the oolong with the white because it's a very sweet, sweet chocolate, paired with a very light, kind of neutral tasting tea. Some folks, if you like green tea, then you'll probably like the pairing of the milk chocolate truffle with it. And if you don't like green tea, then black tea with the dark chocolate is probably, hopefully, the pairing that your palate enjoys the most. And then if you're feeling courageous, if you really don't like the black Assam tea with your dark chocolate truffle, then give the white tea that's also in your box. It's called Pai Mutan. Okay, that comes from China as well. Give that a try. Brew your white tea maybe 1 to 2 minutes, at max 2 minutes, and then give your white tea and the other half of the dark chocolate truffle a try. So if you really did not like, the stronger black tea and your dark chocolate truffle, you might enjoy the white tea, the Pai Mutan, with your dark chocolate truffle. And again, palettes are palettes. It's all on an individual basis. You either like it or you don't. But at least now you know that, say, if you're in a restaurant and you'd like to have, you end your meal with a cup of tea, you kind of sort of know what type of dessert that you would like best with your tea. You now know that if you like oolong tea, then you might want to order a dessert that has, white chocolate in it. If you're a green tea lover, then you know that a milk chocolate or a chocolate base, slice of chocolate cake or a molten chocolate dessert, and green tea might be your best pairing. If you're a black tea drinker, then you know that you can actually do something, like a semi-sweet dessert that the restaurant or venue may have available to you. And so it kind of just gives you an idea as to what your palate enjoys and how to best pair it with chocolate or a chocolate-based dessert that you may have. And so if there are any questions that you may have for me about this pairing, I would love to hear in your comments, or you can DM me or email me what you thought about the 3 different pairings, which ones you liked best, which ones you didn't, and why. That would be appreciated. Or if you have any other questions about the 4 tea types, certainly please contact me, email, text me, social media. I'm available on Instagram and Facebook. And so if you're able to, please send me your comments, questions that you may have had. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not. Let me know if you have another recommended pairing that you would like to see us do. That would be great. So thank you so much for joining our tea and chocolate pairing, and hope to see you all again at another pairing by the Tea Experience soon. Bye.